Hey everyone, so great to have you joining with us wherever it is that you are watching from. Welcome. We're here to talk about the cost of living crisis at City Life Church. We've decided that this is a topic that is facing many households at the moment with the rising costs of mortgage, interest rates going through the roof, the cost of petrol, even a box of cereal can stretch you at the moment. We know that people are struggling with the cost of living in different ways in this season, and so we wanted to take a moment as people who serve the community to talk about some of those stretches that people are feeling at the moment and look at some tips and tricks that we can share from people who work in fields of giving out advice in these areas that we can share with you at home to maybe help ease some of the pressure that we're feeling in this moment. So I'm joined today by three incredible people who work in helping in the community. So how about you guys tell us a little bit about what you do with community care and also who you are. What role do you play in that area?
Hi there, I'm Lisa. I'm in the mentoring and training team, community care, and we're here to help the community to thrive, those in tough places. And we're here to support where we can. Also have counselling support and support through practical support in our pantry, as well as the community meal space and our energy mentoring program. So that's where Ida comes in. We're glad to have you with us.
Hi, my name is Ida. I'm the energy mentor. I help people to understand their energy bills, and I also help them to negotiate a better plan to save them some money.
An energy mentor.
I know, tell me
How
about
cool
it.
is that? That's a cool title. Yeah.
I remember when I first saw that, Brisita,
Yes.
I was looking through some of the things that City Life Community Care does, and I saw this thing, Energy Mentor, and I'm like, what
What is
is
that?
this?
Yeah, I've never heard of
I
that
know
before.
what a financial mentor
Yes.
is. I know what a life mentor is, an energy mentor. So I remember Sue, who's the director at City Life Community Care, she walked me through some of what it is that Ida does, and I was blown away. And so, yeah, good on you, Ida, for what you do. Just, I was so excited. I was like, we just need to tell everybody this because I know electricity, gas, like power, like it is just so expensive and
So
a major
expensive.
challenge for a lot of people. And so to have someone that can actually coach us in that and help us to get the best deals, come on.
So
I
good.
have been very popular these 2 years because of the power saving bonus.
Yes.
So I have been helping so many people to get extra money.
That's
so
fantastic.
you.
I mean, everyone can use a little bit of extra money in their pocket these days. Hey, Sam, you didn't tell us what do you do?
Yes. So my name's Sam. I am the lead pastor at City Life Whittlesea. So that's our site in our church in the north of Melbourne. And also get to hang out with the community care guys a little bit as well. And so what we call a champion or someone that really puts forward some of that in the life of our church. And
Awesome.
It's great to be a part of the team. Yeah.
So good. Look, as a service provider, we have community care as a service provider in our local community. It connects people with avenues of support. What are we noticing more in this current season of rising cost of living? What are some things that you're noticing coming through your door?
Yeah, Brisita, we're getting a lot more demand for the service, and we're certainly trying to meet that demand and support people as best we can. So people coming along saying, I never needed this service before, I never thought I would, and also even saying, I was the one giving to others, and now I've ended up in a tough place. So just the circumstances can change suddenly, as it can for all of us.
Yeah, that must be like a really hard thing for people to go through, I think, as well. What are some of these struggles that people are facing in the day-to-day?
Just back onto that other one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think an interesting one we've noticed in the north, we're in a growth corridor. And so there's one up in our area and also down in the southeast where we've got another church located in the city of Casey.
Yeah.
And, we've seen people that have moved into these areas been quite extended in mortgages to be able to build their dream home.
Wow.
And now as interest rates are coming off being fixed onto variable, just these the interest repayments, like the loan repayments, are just through the roof.
Yeah, wow.
And so this is creating, like you said, people that have never needed this help before have got actually a really good job, have a really nice home, but are actually struggling to put food on the table.
Wow.
And it's a really interesting challenge that we're facing.
Yeah, that's huge. I know I live in the city of Casey, and there's a huge one of those growth corridors as well. And just the number of people that I'm noticing that are struggling to pay their mortgage, pay their bills, like seeking out support has just been just huge compared to what I've seen in the past.
Yeah, and the challenging thing with it is, you can't tell by looking at someone if they are in a difficult space. So if they don't share it with you, it can be a quiet struggle. That they may feel that they're the only ones going through it. So it's not always, what you see is what's actually happening. So
what are some of those current struggles? Like, what do you think? We've touched on some of them.
So we talked about interest rates, meeting mortgage repayments with those increased interest rates. I think one of the other ones, I was just having a bit of a look on the Australian Bureau of Statistics website at it breaks down the different inflation rates for different items.
Right.
And so it was talking about grocery items that, 7.5% in the last 12 months.
Wow.
We've seen an increase there. Rental costs.
Goodness.
I think it was the highest increase in rental costs since 1996.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And so just those compounding things. And was interesting looking at it was it seems like it's a lot of items that are core to life.
Yeah.
It's not peripheral extras. It's actually needs that are, shelter, food. They're things that we have to spend money on. Where we're seeing these massive increases, which is what really hits people that are in struggling circumstances, because you can't go, well, I guess I won't buy this because it's extra. It's your cereal, it's your bread, it's your milk that you're seeing these. We talked about before the beef mince.
Yes,
right? That was the go-to economical meal.
Yeah, don't buy steak, buy beef mince, and it's now like beef mince so expensive.
Or chicken, right?
Yeah, so
chicken
expensive.
through the roof. And so, I think this is what people are dealing with. The things that were their go-to for an economical meal, they're now going, wow, that's actually a stretch now.
Yeah, that's right. And just having to make those little changes. I think it was you, Lisa, saying that you're onto the frozen veggies now just to save a little bit of money. Just like things that are just in your day-to-day are just costing so much more than they used to. I think I might just end up going vegetarian. But even then.
I think that too. So even going, to non-branded, like switching brands and that, but even it's just the cost of that too. And, some places are they're cheaper to shop at.
Yeah.
But, it's still, I have to say, even my Aldi shop the other day astounded me. Yes, my trolley was full for the amount, but it was still a lot. So we're definitely trying to just go shopping once a week.
Yes.
And without the kids.
Yeah.
No treats.
No snacks.
Oh, man.
And I also find people that they're trying to look at the recipes, like a $5 meal or $10 meal. I did look at that too.
How can I save money on some of those cheaper?
Jamie Oliver does some ripping stuff.
Yes,
like
Jamie Oliver's good. We're not sponsored by Jamie Oliver, but hey, Jamie, if you want to throw us a sponsorship, we're happy to take
Come
it.
on.
But it's got some good stuff on there, and you can Google some cheap meals. I know I'm on the pork mince at the moment. That's it's a little bit cheaper, so I'm going into the pork mince territory at the moment, learning how to
pork lard the other night.
Yeah. I'm
good.
doing a pork sanchow bao this week, so a bit of lettuce, bit of pork.
Come on.
It's going to be good.
Lisa, I think you made a really good point before, and this isn't something that we've managed to navigate, but doing a single shop a week, and the difference that can actually make in planning well and doing that single shop and not going each time when you buy a little extra or you buy a little bit of this each time you go, you restrict that by just going once.
Yeah, and I balked at the idea when we first said we looked at tips for saving money, plan your meals. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to go there.
Yeah.
But it actually does make a difference because then you do what you do buy, you actually eat. And you make sure it doesn't,
Saves
the
on
meat
wastage.
doesn't go off. And then because nothing hurts more now than throwing out food that's gone off after it's been overpriced or feels like it's been.
That's so true.
Yeah, I always put down a list what I need, and while I do shopping, I will just take a list with me and not to buy extra.
Yes, there's some aisles that I avoid as well now. I'm just like, you don't need it, don't go down it. Like it's just, I'm just like, just keep walking.
That's wisdom, Brisita.
Yeah, I try. I'm trying. I love a good snack, so I have to some self-control in these hard times. Look, I think people are. We said people are struggling. We all know people that are struggling. Why do you think some people might be a bit reluctant to ask for help in these areas?
I think there's a degree of embarrassment for, for a lot of us, you can think, well, things can get out of hand so quickly without you really realizing, you might tap the tapping away and you might not be as aware of how things can add up. But also it's like that, maybe that shame around the embarrassment that being in that situation, you may feel like you're the only one that's struggling, or maybe you're trying to hide it from your kids or even your partner. Also reaching out for help for some people is not something that they would be used to doing or sharing with others. So it's around getting past that feeling of being alone in it.
Yeah, it's it's sad when you put it that way, that feeling of being alone in it. And I think this must feel so isolating, for some people, it would feel incredibly isolating. So,
So some of the people that we're supporting, and Ida would know as well, because she supports people with their energy bills when they can get out of hand. Some people just stop opening them. So if you start if it can start to feel like it's getting away on you, it can almost feel like, oh, is it too late? So you can almost not know where to start.
Yeah.
So on that, there was one tip I saw actually last night online. It was a simple tip, but it said when you are worried about the bills and things coming up on you, that it actually helps to write a list of the things that you're worried about, like the financial things, the bills and that. And then as you can see a visual, you can then look at it and say, what could I tackle? What's one thing that I could tackle? Yeah, rather than seeing it as an overwhelming whole. But looking at it, but piece by piece.
That's great. Yeah, I love that.
And sometimes I feel people just don't know how to ask and where to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good.
Well, hey, if you're watching this is a great place to start. And we've got actually someone in our chat space, our chat host, Naomi. She's amazing. And so she's going to be putting links and things like that as well throughout this conversation that you can click on that can help you. We've talked about a few ways that we can help saving in the day. What are some other ways that, ideas that we have around saving in our day-to-day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say the word, a budget.
That's true, though. It's true.
Which I liked what you said, seeing a budget as, what did you say?
It's a spending plan, not a budget.
Come on.
How am I going to be spending my money? So it just feels a little bit more
positive.
Yes,
I love it.
Just makes me feel a bit better about it.
It will also make you feel like you have a bit more control
That's
over
right.
it too.
Yeah. I can see where it's going. I can see what's needed. I can see where I can cut back.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think what that helps us with is also when we write stuff down like that, it helps us not just being able to allocate numbers next to things, but also seeing what we're spending on needs versus what we're spending on wants.
So true.
And we talked about before how the needs inflated pricing is really biting. And so if we can dial down those wants or split them a bit further apart, that can really help us with saving some money and making things more manageable.
Yeah, that's great. You had a really great tip earlier when we were talking before we started that your dad gave you about the mortgage.
Yeah. So my dad is just brilliant at this sort of stuff.
Yeah, great.
And he was one of the big tips he gave to my wife Tanya and I when we were with our home loan was to actually make weekly repayments rather than monthly.
Yep.
So you automatically, when you're doing your repayments and you set up a mortgage, you're making monthly repayments. But by making weekly repayments, you pay that little bit of interest extra off each week. And so you actually end up paying less off in the long run. And you actually save a lot of money doing it. And so that's something we've been doing. Our whole married life is actually paying back, doing our repayments weekly rather than monthly.
That's so good. And I feel like it almost hurts less a little bit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like you're not seeing it come out in one. Like, I know when our mortgage comes out, it's like, all right, brace yourself. It's coming out. You know, like it's a huge chunk of our money. So, I feel like maybe it can feel a bit lighter. I mean, you guys probably recommend that with other bills as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking about another way to save money.
Yeah.
So I prefer to think about food than bills.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking one thing that we've started to do with our friends.
I love that, yeah.
We love going out to eat. And I mean, who doesn't love to eat? So we thought, love to go, and you think, oh, what am I going to get? And, you know, how's it going to be? But one thing that we're starting to try is instead of going to a restaurant, we meet at a park or at someone's house and everyone can bring something along that they make. And then there's kind of that mystery surprise of what are you going to try? So you still get to have that special time together with the families. And
That's a great
but
idea.
it's so
That's good,
much
very good.
cheaper.
Yeah, so much cheaper. I love that. I think there's, obviously avoiding using credit. If you can, I think that sometimes can create more pressure. Avoid spending extra cash. Lisa, you were telling me about a money smart website or something that can help with people. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. They have some money saving tips as well as some budget sheets you can use for tracking.
That's awesome.
But if you're not really into using spreadsheets, you can use apps too.
Yes,
There's budget apps and money tracking, spending tracking apps.
That's
so
great.
that you can use it on the go so you can make it work for you. I think with bills too, like even if you know when to expect them, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So rather than, just letting them kind of pile up, it's good if you know what's coming so that you can plan a little bit for it too.
Yeah, and be prepared for it. So that budget planner link will be in our chat there. So have a look at that one. I know that you can also save money. Some energy providers say like you'll pay less at certain times if you use on peak. That's what it's called. So I know there's certain times where I can and can't run the dryer, or I can run it any time, but it's better if I run it at certain times. 5 a.m. instead of. I think ours was between 1 and. I think it was like 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. or something like that. Yep. So it was just like that's not the time that we use sort of the big appliances.
Yeah, and isn't it good that a lot of the appliances now you can set a timer on it so that you
good.
can choose to make it, so it works for you a bit more in your favor.
That's great.
I mean, one that Noel wants to hear especially, we're coming out of winter now, is but less showers or shorter showers.
Shorter showers, Yeah. Cooler showers as well. Oof.
Which
Hard
is-
in Melbourne, but...
Yeah.
Apparently it's really good for your skin. That's what I tell myself.
Or turning the water off while you're soaping up.
Yeah.
It just
Set a timer on.
Setting a timer. I've been doing that. I've been playing a song in the
Yes.
morning, and I've got to get out of the shower by the time the song's over. So it just keeps my shower short. Yeah.
I'm trying to convince my kids that that's a good idea, and it's just not working.
You can, I think that's a good one, like shorter showers. Putting on jumpers and socks before you turn on the heater, trying to warm up before you use those big sort of devices in the home.
Yeah.
The other one I found as well is getting discounts at places that you shop. So I am a rewards member at a supermarket, and I shop there and get booster points for buying certain products, and they're all products that I use. Like when I buy nappies for my daughter, like I can sometimes boost those points, and so I get $10 off once I reach a certain amount that I spend, and it's groceries that I would already be spending money on, but just today I did like my grocery shop and I saved $10, so that was awesome. And I also have combined my insurance with that place that I shop, my pet insurance. And so that also takes another 10% off once a month with a grocery shop. So it's quite a big saving when you're doing a $200 shop to get 10% off just because I've combined some insurance with that. So
That's great.
Yeah, so that's a good one. I was going to say as well, seniors discounts. Come
on.
But my mum, she's not a senior really, well, she won't claim to be one, but she always asks for discounts. Like anytime we go to a shop, she's like, do you guys provide a discount for seniors or students, or like a loyalty reward discount? So you can find discounts that way. We talked about Best and Less, which we're also not sponsored by, but they have like a birthday program, and everyone, you can get a 10% discount when it's your like birthday month, so 10% off.
It's amazing how many places do that.
They do. There's so many. Like you just ask and sign up for them. And I mean, it might might flood an email account. I have a separate email account just for these programs that I'm involved in, so I have to read all the emails all the time. But I know that I'm going to get discount at certain times. I have a spam email account, so it just helps me manage that as well.
Very
They're
smart
free.
of you.
That's a hack. That is a hack.
There's a life hack for you guys.
That is so good.
Yeah.
I think it's still really good to remember that we need to have some fun too. So
Yeah.
even when you are going to go out, say, to a movie, like just to think about, it's okay to go on the Tuesday night when it's cheaper.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's also okay to go to a different cinema or not to go to VMAX.
Yes.
you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
And you can probably take nearly your whole family for the price of one adult ticket.
Yeah. I remember growing up, my parents used to, my dad used to make us a little snack box of things. So he wouldn't buy us popcorn at the movies because it's so expensive to buy popcorn. It's like $20. So it's just popped corn. But it's, and he would make us a little snack box. And so you wouldn't know what was in there. So the treat was that you'd open it up at the cinema and be like, this fun surprise and something that you'd enjoy as a kid, but we'd save money there as well. So
We've actually started doing our own popcorn at home.
Oh, fantastic.
So we're buying the popping kernels. And our kids love it. It's an adventure every time. We're like, can we do the popcorn again? Because they want the popping. And they always ask them, can you take the lid off now? And popcorn goes flying everywhere.
So fun. So
It's great fun.
Yeah, all the things that you can do with your family, making memories in that thing. There was another resource, Lisa, that you mentioned to me was managing your money. It's from Services Australia. I think there's a lot of resources there. Is that
on
right?
Services Australia, there's money making tips
Oh,
and
great.
there's suggestions on different ways you can save or plan to have contingency and money set aside. Yeah. They also on those sites will warn you against the scams.
Oh, fantastic.
It's very good
That's so
to
helpful.
be wary of them
Very good.
and to have different tips in that regard too.
Yeah, that's great. And also, Centrelink does provide a lot of support if people have benefit cards. Is that right? Yep. So there's ways that you can get support there. Family tax payment, childcare, homeless payments, low income healthcare cards, disability payments. They've also got social workers that you can speak to, I believe. Is that right, Lisa?
Yeah, for support. So if you have a lot of time on your hands, you can call them.
Yeah.
Or you can call them at certain times of the day.
Yes.
It might be better.
I have heard. Okay, so I'm on a lot of Facebook groups for mums. I'm a new mum, so I need all the help I can get. But I have heard a lot of the mums tell me that if you're struggling to get through to Centrelink, to call at 8 a.m. first thing in the morning and immediately just ask to go to the complaints section. And apparently they put you through straight away. So I don't know.
Not anymore
It
now.
might not work now because I've said it on this space, but I have heard that it does work. And if you put your phone number on private, because sometimes when you call Centrelink and you call again, it just cuts you out. But if you put your phone number on private, it means that you can probably get through again. So those are things that I've heard. I don't know how much they work, but that's my hot tips.
Yeah. So if you can go in to the location, that might be slightly less waiting. You might only need to take one meal with you.
Yeah.
But, if you are confident to navigate the online space, there's a lot of material available on the site. So we have the link in the chat that you can see about what services you might be eligible for based on your circumstances. So there's all the ones you mentioned, but also disaster situations, natural disaster relief as well. So you can just enter your situation and your household situation, and then there are options there for you as well. And then, of course, there's information about Centre Pay and the concessions as well for those who are eligible.
That's great. I also found when I was navigating Centrelink, just looking at childcare subsidy, really helped me to be prepared with a list of lots of questions that I could ask once I got through, so I didn't have to call back again later. And the people, Centrelink and the call centres, they do a great job, so well done if you're listening. They honestly, just the amount of people they must have to walk through and help and things like that, so incredible.
It's a massive job.
It's a huge job,
space.
So I found that just being prepared really helped them and helped me, so always really happy to help there. I know also Housing Victoria can also provide some support regarding rental rights, is that right, Lisa? Yep. Yeah, great. So if you're struggling, if you're concerned, maybe sometimes if your landlord has lifted the rent too high, can you go there?
Which is a thing at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Landlords are feeling the pinch, and so maybe excessive increases in rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's extra pressure in that space as well. Because, we'd all know there's a shortage of rentals. So if you're not happy with your rental arrangement, a few years ago, you could move to another place, rather easily. But now it's not the case anymore. So, but as a renter, you certainly have rights. And you have right to access good information, advocacy, and to be heard.
That's great. All right, what about if you're not on any kind of benefits, but you think that you might need some support from a government, organisation like Centrelink? Like, how can they be a helpful resource to you?
Well, if you call them and explain your situation, they can at least put you through to, like, they have social work services, or they also have information on other service providers, so they can help us by being a linking in support as well.
That's great. Yeah. So great resource there. You can also see what payments are available. I know we've got a link coming up there in the chat as well, a payment and service finder as well from Centrelink as well. So that's awesome. And you can see if you're eligible for concessions in there. All right. Now let's talk energy bills because I cannot believe
this is
how expensive is electricity right now. I feel like I just want to go back to candles because it is so high. Ida, you're our energy superstar. What's the title again that you have?
Energy mentor.
An energy mentor. That's so
I want
cool.
to be an energy mentor.
That's so good. All right. If let's say I have a really large energy bill, like let's just say I have a large energy bill. What can I do about it? Like, what are some ways that I can tackle that?
Well, it's pretty obvious during the peak consumption, energy consumption time, like summer and winter. So you have high energy bill. So it's happened to majority of the people. So I would suggest people to look at the bill and see whether they have prompt on the bill. You can save money on a better plan. So if they see a prompt on that, so you can just start calling your utility company and find out what is their offer. So this is one. And for people who have concession cards, so they're entitled for energy concession. So most of the time they missed out. So I did help some people to claim back 1 year energy consumption. For both gas and electricity.
Wow.
It's really making a difference.
That's
like
incredible.
hitting a jackpot.
I think I'm coming to see Ida.
I'm gonna book in with you, Ida.
If I can just say
good.
one thing about Ida, she is very patient on the phone. So she will actually sit with people when they call the energy company and sit with them on hold, support them, help them to, advocate for themselves with the company to get on the best plan.
That's
so
great.
we're great to have your support.
Oh, thank you. So people do struggle about the payment a lot. So when they have the high bill, so they're just very stressed, and they came to me and asked, "What can I do?" So I'll ask them whether have they ever applied for the utility relief grant, which is $650 per 2 years for gas and $650 for electricity. So this is talking about $1,300.
Wow.
So,
What? I never heard of this. This sounds amazing.
It's called Utility Relief Grant.
Utility relief grant.
Yes.
That's amazing. Wow. Okay.
I would suggest people to call their utility company, and they need to answer a few questions and to see whether they're eligible to apply. And the best way is to ask them to apply for you. And then once they're approved, so the money will go into their account to pay off their bills.
Amazing.
Wow.
That's incredible.
One that we just found, Brisita, we just got a gas bill, and when we looked on it, they'd actually done an estimated reading, not an actual reading.
Yes, I've had that before.
And so what we had to do, I did just go outside, take a photo of my gas meter and email it through to, and they're sending us a new bill because we're like, our gas bill should not be that. We haven't used that much energy. We've been quite restrictive on how we've used it. And so just being aware on our bills that sometimes they're estimated meter readings rather than actual meter readings.
Yeah, always double check if it doesn't look quite right. There's nothing wrong with calling up and asking.
Yeah.
And just asking the question, like, what's happened here?
Well, so that's why I will do the bill reading with them.
Yeah,
and
great.
make sure they understand how they use the
Yeah.
electricity or gas,
Yeah.
and walk them through the bills and show them what is your daily average usage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so give them some knowledge about.
Because they can be confusing. That back page, man,
Killer,
I think they make
what
it
is
confusing
what?
on purpose.
Yeah, I don't know what any of it means. So, yeah.
So when
That's
people they
great.
do struggle a lot on making all these payments, a huge overdue account. So sometimes I will call with them to the energy company and set up a payment plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
an affordable payment plan. It could be $20 per fortnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just pay whatever comfortable.
That's so
Yeah.
good. Well, how can I make sure that I'm getting like the best rate for my utilities?
You need to negotiate with your energy company. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would also suggest you go to the government website,
Yep.
Victoria Energy Compare.
Yep, that's in the
to
chat.
get a
Yep.
reference, yes. So you can go to the website and fill in some of the questions.
Yep.
And they'll give you a whole list of energy companies for you to compare.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
But one thing is they only offer the single rate on the list. So you need to understand that what is single rate. So it's like no peak or off-peak rate. So
Right.
it's like one single rate.
Yep.
Yeah, for the whole season. So you have to pick whatever you want. And if they don't understand, so they can come to talk to me and I can navigate the whole thing together with them. So we can work together on choosing the best plan,
Amazing.
the best rate.
Yeah. That's great.
I'm seriously booking in with
Yeah,
Ida.
I know. I'm just like, I don't know. What? This is amazing.
Yeah, it could be very confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you do appointments on Tuesdays, right?
Yes, I'm on
Tuesdays,
Tuesday.
people.
Yeah.
Write that down.
So is it just with City Life Community Care? So if we ring up, we're able to book in?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just ring up and then make a booking. Yeah.
Amazing. That's so good. Now, I know sometimes when we talk about hardships, some people can feel that their hardship is not as hard as what some other people are going through. And so they might think they're not able to ask for help because it's just like, well, I mean, I'm doing it really tough, but, you know, I'm not homeless. Or I know even times where it's like, I'm doing it really tough, but I've got a friend's couch to sleep on. And I'm like, that is really technically homeless. Like, you know, sometimes we downplay what it is that we're going through. Can you help us understand what classifies someone as having severe financial hardship?
Yeah, so we all have time to time, where you might find you get in a spot where things are tight until the next pay, or it might be tight for a little while, or you might have to put some things on hold. But with severe financial hardship is really when people are experiencing like significant difficulty meeting basic needs for themselves and or the families.
Yep.
So whether that's your home, your utilities, food, like you say, your core costs, and it's quite it can be really deeply impacting.
Yep.
So, and the thing is that it's important to note that not only is there the financial stress of the hardship, but there's often that emotional load as well.
Yep.
So in that, it's really important to look after your mental health as well and make sure you get the emotional support as well. So with severe, if someone is going through really difficult hardship, it's really important that they get help as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a number of things that can be done. So first of all, contacting companies, the bank if they have a mortgage, their creditors, which is really anyone providing a service, which is, that is being paid for at a later time.
Yeah.
And specifically mention hardship, and you want to talk to someone about hardship and to talk about support that you can get. So some things can be put in place.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And I know that you've listed here that if someone does find themselves in financial hardship, they can also call or contact the National debt helpline.
Yeah, so there's support at that line. They provide link people in with financial counseling.
Oh, wow.
So it's one thing. So imagine, so we have a pile of bills in front of us is one thing, but if you're really in hardship and you have creditors calling and you're receiving notifications, and of course, if that is left unchecked, then there's a risk of your car being locked when you go to the shops. You can see sometimes that they can seize things as well.
Yeah.
So when you have that, you can have support and advocacy.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's really helpful to have a financial counselor as someone who can walk alongside you, where they actually will manage the conversations with the creditors on your behalf.
Amazing.
And set up the plans. Yeah. And that may mean that you'll get support to, say, stop interest on some loans for a period of time, or stop payments for a certain period of time. But the financial counseling, there are a lot of services that are offered that are funded, that receive funding, or they're very low cost. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's for if you're in a significant challenge.
Yeah, that's huge. And there's also Eastern Financial Counselling Service. I think it's called EACH.
Yeah, so
as well. What do they
for
offer?
our area within the Knox region?
Okay.
But for
We're
those
in
of
Melbourne,
you
Knox,
in different areas, I mean, in Victoria, you can go to the website there at the National Debt Hotline.
Okay,
We've got it in the chat.
Yeah,
the
yep,
website.
yep,
And
Naomi's
there's
got it
a
up there.
map where you can click on financial counselling services
cool.
that are within your area.
In that area. That is amazing. And you can also make an appointment with Community Care with us. You've got a financial coach program as well.
Yeah, so we do a financial coach. So we don't provide financial counseling, but more we have mentors that will walk alongside you to look at how you're spending your money, help you to, regain control around your finances, and walk alongside you as you explore options and to make choices. To regain control. Yeah,
so that you don't get to that stage where you actually need that financial counselling, I guess. Yeah?
That's right.
It's an early intervention.
Yeah, to work together. So, and just to add as an example, often if people have access financial counselling, they then may come on to us for some ongoing support for a bit to help them with budgeting.
That's
just
great.
so they realize, they get to the point where they say, hey, I can do this. I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's around just that knowledge and understanding about where their money's going, and then they can make some decisions about getting their power back and how they manage their money.
I think that just really, just as an aside as well, I feel like it impacts your family in such a big way. Like if you can learn those skills as a parent, it's things that you can teach your kids in the future. I don't remember ever getting taught how to write a household budget at school, or how to read an energy bill or anything like that. But that would have been really useful. I know algebra, but that hasn't helped me. So it would have been trigonometry. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes we just aren't taught those skills. And so it's really great, I think, to learn those for ourselves. It's something we can actually, bring financial freedom for our children as well, and just teach them those skills as they grow up. So yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, if I have a friend or a neighbour who I know that is struggling financially, what's a great way that I can go about helping them?
Yeah, I mean, there are people in every suburb, in every place, that I don't think financial challenges are really set to pockets. And so there will be neighbours of ours, whether that's literally a next door neighbour or maybe it's a family at school. And I think it's important that people know that they're not alone in this. We've talked about the stigma that can often be attached to this, or how people can feel there can be shame attached to it as well. And so if people know that they're not alone, and I think one of the most powerful things that we can do is actually listening to people. Next week, in 1 week today, it's Are You OK Day. And this year's theme is Here to Hear. And what does it look like for us to really be listening to people and allowing them to be able to share and speak? Because I was listening to an interview earlier today of one of the guys from the Salvation Army, and he was talking about how often financial hardship or financial challenges, especially when they're going on for a period of time, that they actually walk parallel with mental health issues.
Right, yeah.
Just because of that elevated anxiety, constant worry, they just go hand in hand. And so how we can actually support people in that, be a listening ear, looking for ways that we can actually maybe serve in really basic ways. We might be not able to give financially to buy things for them ourselves because of our own position. But there are other ways that we can serve and help people to know that they're not alone.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think those two things, if we can be listening and looking to serve people, I think amazing.
That's great. Yeah. I think, like you said about like listening to people as well is like really important. Just sometimes just giving your neighbour an ear, just knowing like, I just like come have a cup of tea and just talk to me about what you're going through can make such a difference in their day to day.
Could be connecting them with City Life Community Care.
Yeah, I was just going to add too, because even for a short period of time, getting a little extra help. So we're not the only ones providing food relief.
No.
So depending on where you're living, you can jump on. If you're in Victoria, you can go to the Ask Izzy website, which should come up near the end.
Yeah.
This is one of your favourites, Lisa. I've heard you talk about Ask Izzy so many times.
Yeah, I just love it. So you say, I'm looking for myself or a friend. It doesn't matter. You come up with resources based on where you live.
Amazing.
And it can be food support or counselling or in everything from play groups to physiotherapy.
Wow.
There's all kinds of resources.
Wow. Yeah.
So even if someone gets some food support for a month, once a fortnight for a month, just to relieve or free up some money to help towards bills. And that's okay. And it's a way to feel like, you get that restored hope and you think, okay, I can do this and get ahead.
Yeah.
There's also emergency relief services where you can get white goods or furniture or beds. So for us in our region, we have the Eastern Emergency Relief Network where we can do referrals for people to obtain goods they might need to for their family.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. That's really great. There's, of course, make sure you check out City Life Community Care. The link is in the chat, and just have a look at, how they can support you in this time, or also just refer you to something in your area that could support you. We're going to open it up to questions. So if you're watching and you have a question and you want to ask us anything, feel free to pop it in the chat. If you're watching this after the fact, that's totally fine. I mean, you can pop up questions. We might see them and reply to them, but make sure you check out the City Life Community Care website. But yeah, if you've got any questions that you want to ask here, our panel, happy to answer those for you. One of the ones that I had in mind that had came up earlier was just how do I look out for scams in these areas? Like I find that when the cost of living, is a bit higher, people are a bit more vulnerable. What are some ways that I can kind of protect myself in spaces to avoid being scammed? Thoughts?
I got a text message last night saying that I got an $8,000 tax return this year.
Okay, and you're like, oh, that's nice.
That would be great if it was true. But each day I feel like I'm getting text messages from someone else telling me, just click this link and enter your details and we'll send you this. And
so how many of us are members of a royal family?
Yeah. Those emails, yeah, definitely. Well, I see it sometimes just on like the Casey Mums Facebook group where it's like there was one going around recently about being stuck at a petrol station with the kids in the car and not having any money to pay for the petrol. Could someone just transfer me money? And, it was shown around. It just came up this afternoon that was like, hey, ladies, watch out. This is a scam. And so I thought it was like really helpful that you let people know as well that, just look out for this. Just be vigilant. Yeah.
I do share with my friends that if you look at the weird messages and you have to do nothing about it and just delete it straight away.
Just delete it. Yeah.
Isn't it? It's a shame, though, that the scams tend to be preying on our emotions.
I know,
like, Mom, I'm stuck. My car's broke down. And that. So, it's interesting you're saying, like, so anything from a bank or safe through MyGov, they're going to send you official communication. They're not going to send you a text message with spelling errors.
Yeah.
I mean, MyGov is excellent in how they won't send you the email, they'll send you a notification that something's gone into your MyGov inbox.
Yeah.
And so you know straight away if you've got an email from MyGov, it's probably not from MyGov.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also just like if you get a text message, like don't just click on the link. Like just call. Like if the bank sends you a text message, like don't click on the link, call the bank and just find out what's going on. Because sometimes that can be like, I think it's called a Trojan horse scam or something like that. So just, look out for those. We don't have any other questions sort of coming through. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave you with one final piece of advice. Maybe each one of us can give our little one thing for people to take away today from today's cost of living crisis event.
Oh. anyone want to jump in first?
Oh, I'm happy to jump in first. So I just had hoped that I could just let people know about our budgeting support program at Community
great.
Care. So we, under license, we provide financial coach mentoring, and that can look different ways. So generally, a volunteer, a mentor walks alongside someone as they gain skill and go through that process at the pace that's comfortable for them. So they'll start looking at expenditure. They look at what goals are important for the participant. Also, tracking spending and to build a budget. What ultimately it has to work for the person undertaking it. So that's a financial coach program.
That's
so
awesome.
the mentor can meet with them for between 10 and 20 sessions. And there is, of course, there's no cost. And we've got mentors waiting. Ida is one of them. So there's like a 2-for-1 special. Bring your energy bills and, you can work at a budget. So
that's so
look
great.
forward to working with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
I think my one would be, don't do it alone. I think if we can move beyond the stigma of asking for help and being able to say, yeah, I need help, before it gets to the state where we're really in trouble, I think that's massive. And so whether that's chatting to someone and beginning a conversation saying, I'm really struggling financially at the moment, whether it's giving a call to someone at City Life Community Care, but let's not do it alone. And be talking to other people. And I think that helps, when we shine a bit of light on some hard situations, all of a sudden you share that burden and things can feel a little bit lighter.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that would be my piece of advice, is don't do it alone.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mine was going to be, you're not alone. So I'm going to go to Ida so I can think of another one. It's good. It's good. Yeah,
I think the first step is very important and difficult. I would suggest is don't be afraid. Just stretch out for help. There's
great.
a lot of options out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I think mine would be like, share this content with people, like this is something you can send the link of this YouTube, all of these tips and tricks. You can share it with your friends, with your family. If you hear of someone who's struggling financially, share this link with them, and hopefully they can come and get some of the support and can benefit from some of the things that we've shared here tonight. We're not making this content because it's something fun that we wanted to do on a Thursday night, even though I find it fun. It's just to help people. So we want to help as many people as possible. So my takeaway, I think, for tonight is like, don't do this in isolation. Like, share it with people, help people, be a voice of support for people. Put this on your Facebook page, share it with people that you know that are in need. I'm going to send it out to people that I know. I'm going to put it in some chat groups that I'm a part of, and hopefully it blesses and really serves people in their places of need wherever they are.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And I know we've had lots of people in our chat agreeing and also adding their own advice, which I love as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing all of your tips and tricks. If you've got some good recipes in there for pork mince as well, pop them in. I want to hear them. But thank you so much for those of you who have joined us in this time. So big thanks to you guys, our panelists. Amazing work that you do. So thank you so much for what you
Brisita.
do to help in our community, and really excited to see you continuing to do that. Big thanks to Cal, who's been doing all of the camera work for us, pushing all of the buttons, and to Naomi, who has been in the chat with all of you tonight. And thank you for those of you watching. We hope that this has helped you and that it has been useful, and we hope you share it with your friends. Thanks so much for joining us. And if you want to come check out more of what we do, check out City Life Church on the internet. Just Google us, you can find us, and also check out City Life Community Care. The link is in the comments. We'll catch you sometime soon. Bye.
See you. Take care.